Hello everyone, today we have the young and vibrant Naliath, the CEO and co-founder of Friday Meal. Hi Alan, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Alright, so for our viewers, could you brief us about the Friday Meal?
Yeah, of course. I'm the founder and CEO of Friday. Friday is an AI company that manages your Gmail for you. So, in all of your emails in your Gmail account, there's some action you need to perform. Maybe you need to reply, maybe you need to manage spam, maybe you need to forward an email. Friday learns from your actions and how you perform tasks in your email, and it predicts them. So for every email, it'll suggest an action, and all you have to do is approve it. So in, let's say, one email, sometimes replying can take like 3, 4, 5 minutes. And for 100 emails, it might take 1 or 2 hours. But with Friday, you're just looking over what Friday's done, and you say, okay, so 100 emails might take 3 or 4 minutes,
Okay, it saves a lot of time.
especially for really busy people. Yeah,
Okay, like entrepreneurs.
exactly. So, you can hire a personal assistant to manage your email for you, but in the US, it's very expensive. It costs around $50,000, around like 40 lakhs. So most people can't afford having someone to manage their own email for them. So I'm trying to build an AI that can try to get about that same performance for much cheaper.
Okay, that's a good thought actually. And who all are there in your team? Because you are the co-founders. There must be a co-founder for you. So
Yeah, right now it's just two of us, me and my co-founder, one of my close friends. We actually had an intern, he went back to school, but we're actually hiring now. I have some very interesting thoughts on hiring. We're looking for engineers, and I actually went a little bit viral for an infamous opinion I had where I said, we're only hiring people, well, we're hiring engineers, but the only prerequisite is you need 10,000 followers on some social media
social
platform.
media, all right.
And the reasoning was that having 10,000 followers, trying to get followers on social media really changed me. It helped me grow a lot as a person. It helped me understand what makes people feel emotions. It helped me be more creative. And especially for founding engineers, I really want those people to have that level of understanding or that creativity. But yeah, it made a lot of people angry.
So is that a marketing technique too? Because followers and your product will go.
A lot of people think, oh, you're just hiring marketers, but really, I don't care about the marketing. If they have the followers and they don't even post about Friday, that's okay. My whole point is someone who attains that level of an audience has a good understanding of how people will react to the things that they create. And we're creating a product for consumers, the public. We're not creating for businesses.
Right.
So understanding how people will feel when they interact with the product is very important. Apple is a company that I think does that really well, and we strive to be like that.
All right. So at such a young age, what inspired you the most to step into the world of startups?
Yeah, initially, growing up, I really wanted to work on entrepreneurship, but I heard that 99% of startups fail, so I thought it was like a lottery. But going to Stanford and being surrounded by tech culture, entrepreneurship, startup culture, and meeting a lot of founders really changed my opinion. There was talk by Nikhil Vishwanathan, the CEO of Alchemy. He came to Stanford and he talked about his journey going from school to his life and 10 years of just building a lot of things that he really enjoyed working on. And it made me realize that entrepreneurship is not a lottery. Sure, there's some luck involved, but really the people who work the hardest and really care the most end up winning. So it's something that really resonated with me, and it made me believe that entrepreneurship is actually something that's real, that you can do.
That's true. So speaking of the setbacks and challenges an entrepreneur faces, what about you? What are the various challenges or maybe failures that you may have come across?
Yeah, I failed many times. One of the biggest failures that I made and that I see a lot of other people making too is being obsessed with perfection. I was a big perfectionist, and I would spend a lot of time working on my own projects. I would spend months building an app, learning how to do it, making every little detail perfect. And I'd finally put it out there, and then no one would care. Actually, one story I have is I built a company called Food Cycle. This was when I was in high school. I spent about a year working on this. This was an app that tries to reduce food waste. So, for example, I'm from Boston, and in Boston, there's a chain called Dunkin' Donuts. They throw away a lot of the food at the end of the day that they don't sell. So anything that doesn't get sold, it gets wasted. And there's 40 million people, even in the US, that are hungry every day. So I wanted to try to reduce food waste and try to feed people that are hungry too. So we built a system that manages the inventory in these stores. And when it gets close to the end of the day, they'll say, okay, hey, we have some food available. It'll be priced at a discount. You can come get it. And we actually built this whole thing out, and we'd collect some fees from those sales and use those fees to donate the rest of the food to a food bank or a food shelter or homeless shelter. But we spent so long working on this. We got a bunch of businesses on board. They're ready to do it. They use the app. They put their menus on there. Spent months and months working on this. And we ended up launching in like February 2020, which was 1 month before COVID happened and all the restaurants shut down.
Oh, so that became an utter failure,
Yeah,
if I can say that.
for sure, for sure. But the happy ending is I believe there's a company, I forget what the name is, but after COVID, there's a company that did this and it became very big. I think it was one of the App Store's top apps. So I'm glad that someone went with the idea and executed on it really well.
All right.
But I've done this many times.
Okay, so how was the response in total, apart from the catastrophe because of the COVID? How about the response of that venture that you did for the?
Yeah, I actually had a team. I worked on it with 4 other people. We actually got some good responses from businesses. A lot of failures though. I had to ask so many companies. I would call so many of them, and most of them would just say no and hang up. In fact, in the beginning, I said, we're not even going to sell your food. What we're going to do is we're going to have an app and we're just going to give you free promotion. And even then, most people said no. So it was very hard. And it taught me a lot about just how much you have to try to convince people and face rejection. It was tough, but I learned a lot from that.
All right. Okay. Speaking of rejection, you did rejection challenges with your co-founder.
Yeah.
So what are the various takeaways, important takeaways to be precise?
Yeah, I actually started this by myself when I was at Stanford. It came from some reflections I did. I realized that I was a pretty brave person. I'm willing to do a lot of things, but at the same time, there's still some fears that I had. And I was like, what are those fears? What are those things that prevent me from taking action? One of my core beliefs is that fear is a useless emotion. It's one that needs to be eliminated. It only holds people back from achieving the things that they want to do.
That's true. Even I fear a lot of things. And once I try to come out of it, a lot of things changed in my life. Yeah.
For sure. And I realized that just running headfirst into the things that make you scared would really help. For example, I was bad at talking to people. I couldn't have conversations with people. I was bad at making new friends. And I was just scared to approach people that I didn't know. So one thing I did was at the start of my 3rd year at Stanford, I would just go into the dining hall, take my food, and I used to just sit by myself and eat my food and go. Most people sit by themselves. But I would go and find someone sitting alone, and I would sit down with them. Because the mindset was, when you go and you see someone sitting by themselves, maybe they have their headphones in, maybe they're looking at their phone, maybe they're doing some work, you say, oh, I don't want to bother them. If I sit down, they're not gonna like it. But then I realized when I'm sitting by myself, if someone came and sat with me, I'd be very happy. I'd love to talk to them. That'd make my day. So there's a disconnect there. Maybe I'm gonna go sit with these people. So I sat down with a random person and I would just have a conversation. I'd make new friends, and I realized it's not so bad.
Right.
I made a lot of friends this way. I sat down just with men first, because even sitting down with women was very scary. Eventually I sat down with girls too, just made friends of all different types of people, all different types of ideas. And I started to get better at having conversations and became more confident. And this grew into the rejection challenge, actually. I was telling a priest actually at Stanford about this. And he mentioned that, yeah, this reminds me of a challenge that one of my friends did, where every single day for a month, he tried to hear no. He asked for things until he heard no. And I said, immediately I saw the value because it was October 1st. So it was a perfect time to start that challenge for the rest of October. Every day, try to hear no. And this challenge changed me like nothing else in my life. My life is basically before rejection challenge and after rejection challenge.
All right. You learned a lot.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So all the best for your future plans and your success. I mean, I wish you great success in your journey. Thank you so much for spending time with us.
Thank you.
Hello everyone. Today we have the young and vibrant Naliath, the CEO and co-founder of Friday Meal. Hi Alan, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
All right, so for our viewers, could you brief us about the Friday Meal?
This challenge changed me like nothing else in my life. My life is basically before rejection challenge and after rejection challenge.
All right, you learned a lot.
Yeah. And the first day, actually, I was okay, how do I get rejected? And there was a meeting that we had in one of our dorms. So I went to the dorm meeting and I sat by myself in the front. And I said, okay, how can I hear a no? How do I hear a no? Most people try to think, how do I hear yes? Thinking about how to hear no is very different. So I turned around and there were people sitting behind me. I said, hey, do you want to come sit with me in the front? And so they said, okay. So I'm like, oh, that was, I didn't even hear a no. Okay, let me ask one more person. Do you want to come sit with me? I didn't even know this person. They said, okay. I'm like, I'm struggling here.
No one is
Do you want to sit with me? And they said, yeah, sure. And I was like, what's going on? And then I went to the person running the meeting. They're playing some music. I said, can you change the music to this thing? They said, okay. And every single thing I ask for, I hear yes. And it changes your perspective because you realize, wait, people don't like saying no. Humans really like helping each other out. It's very painful to tell someone no, even more than it is to hear no. And I realized that if you ask kindly, you're probably going to hear yes. But now I'm in trouble because I'm about to fail on the first day. So I kept asking like 5-10 different things. And I went to the RAs. These are the people that run the dorm. And they have these private closed meetings every week. And they order some nice food, they talk about the dorm, and I wanted to participate, so I asked them, you have private meetings that are only for the leaders of the dorm, can I come to those meetings? And they said, you know what? Normally I'd say no, but I'll find a way to get you in. I was like,
no.
Come on.
All right.
And actually doing that was one of the best things. I became friends with the RAs, I was more involved in my dorm, that was really great. Eventually, went to my old dorm. I was part of last year, and I walked in. I think I asked someone, "Oh, hey, can I join the group chat for this current year?" And he was like, "Oh, sorry, this is only for the dorm residents." I was like, "Thank you." And he's like, "This guy's so weird. Why is he?" But like at 11:30 p.m., I finally heard my first no.
Okay, and what was the feeling then?
Yeah, it was great. It hurt a little bit, but it felt good. And what I realized was most people, when they ask for things, they either hear yes and they're happy, they hear no and it hurts, or they don't do anything at all and they're okay. So they just don't do anything. But for me, hearing yes, it's good. I get what I want. Hearing no is even better because I'm finally done with the challenge. And doing nothing is the worst option. So all I did was take the worst option and made it the best option. So if I ask for something, I either get what I want or I get something better by hearing no. Either way, I win.
Yeah, this is something that we all should learn, to learn to listen to no.
Yeah.
Right?
And not even learn to listen to it, but to be excited about it. One thing I did was I had a punishment. I said, every day that I don't get rejected, I need to take a freezing cold shower. So hearing no was actually really great. I was like, oh, finally, I'm done. Okay. So I would ask for so many things. I would go into so many places. For the very next day, I was leaving class. And you want to try to find places where you'd be uncomfortable. So I sought a lot of old, powerful looking people wearing suits, and I'm in my t-shirt and shorts. So I'm like, let me go talk to them. Maybe I'll hear a no. And I started talking to them and say, oh, you're the first student that came and talked to us. Yeah, we're executives. They're executives from Microsoft, Apple, Google, CEOs of banks from all around the world, even from Africa. They're coming to this executive education class. They're all executives. And they went back into the class. They were on a break. And I walked in. I was like, you know what? Maybe they kicked me out. And I started taking notes. I made some friends. I started taking notes, listening to the class. And after like 20 minutes, someone comes by and says, are you part of this class? I'm like, nope. And then he's like, this is only for people that are part of the class. I was like, okay, can I stay here? He's like, oh, sorry, you have to leave. Okay, good. I got my note, so I can leave. And over time, this makes you very okay with being uncomfortable. You're not afraid of confrontation. You're not afraid of being kicked out of things. You're not afraid of going up and talking to people that most people would be afraid of. And this gave me superpowers. Because over time, the no stopped hurting. I ran out of things to be afraid of. So I kept looking, what's something that is even more uncomfortable that can make me afraid? And I started to try to find cooler and cooler people that I could potentially talk to. And I have a lot of stories about that as well.
All right. Okay. So what was this rejection challenges all about? What were the assignments given to you? Because listening and accepting and getting excited to know is one thing. And there must be more interesting stories related to it.
There's a few rules. You have to hear no. You have to ask for something and you have to hear no. The other thing is you can't ask for something that will hurt the other person. Don't ask, like if I go and say, oh, can I have your wallet? That doesn't count. So it can't hurt the other person. You should always try to make people feel better by asking questions. Like maybe, oh, do you want to go on a walk with me? Or let's jump into this fountain. I even asked that person. They said yes. They jumped in the fountain with me. And the last thing is, you want to ask for things until you hear no. Don't make people uncomfortable. But you should also try to find spaces or people that you feel like you wouldn't fit in. Places where you wouldn't fit in, and try to go there regardless. And that was one of the biggest things for me. Trying to identify, for example, I was biking one day and I saw a bunch of people standing around and eating food. And I was like, oh, I'm hungry. I wish I could have some food. It's like, wait, I can't have some food. Let me go. I parked my bike. I walked in. I said, oh, whoa, what's going on? And they said, oh, we're German studies group. We're having some pretzels because it's Oktoberfest. And I said, can I have some food? I said, oh, should I ask? Maybe I shouldn't ask. And I was like, wait, there's that voice in your head saying, oh, maybe I should. That's when you should act. Whenever you're in a situation and you hear, oh, I shouldn't, oh, I'll be wrong, they'll get mad at, no, just ask. And of course, they never had any problem. They said, yeah, sure, have some food, have some more. And they're actually really happy that I joined and was a part of this thing.
Okay.
So the thing I learned is that when you ask for something, your chance of success is much, much higher than you think it is. For example, I ask this all the time. If I was walking down the street and I just flagged down some car and I said, oh, can you drive me back to my dorm? What do you think is the chance that they'll say yes? What do you think?
As you mentioned, to help someone?
Yeah. What's the chance that they'll say yes?
What's the chance that
what's the percent?
A man waiting outside? I don't know.
Most people say, oh, there's like a 5% chance they'll say yes or a 10% chance they'll say yes.
All right. You want a person?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Less chances, probably.
This worked for me 75% of the time. I asked 4 people and 3 of them said yes.
Oh.
And it made me realize that, again, people are always willing to help you. Even the craziest situations, trying to get no is hard. But when you try to seek the no's, you realize that you can ask for almost anything and get what you want as long as you're brave and as long as you have confidence. So it really changed my mind about a lot of things.
All right. So how did you put all those learnings to your venture, Friday Mail, learnings from the rejection challenges?
Yeah. Entrepreneurship is actually very closely tied to rejection. If you're building a product, a lot of people say, oh, I don't want to use the product. Or if you're fundraising, a lot of investors will tell you no. And so there's a lot of pain and a lot of rejection that you face. But for me, it's nothing. I've been through it so many times before. So I can I can be very bold or other people might be reserved. Or I can seek opportunities that have a very high rate of failure because I'm looking for the failure. And when you fail to fail, you succeed. It's very obvious, but people don't even try to fail.
I think all the entrepreneurs should learn these basics when they are when they are starting a startup.
Yeah.
Right. So you were a part of the Stanford Startup Society. I don't know if I can say this, but you are also a Stanford dropout.
Yeah.
Can you share some highlights related to the SSS?
For sure. Yeah, I dropped out of Stanford after my third year, so going into my final year. And I founded the Stanford Startup Society. Basically, when I came into Stanford, as I mentioned, I didn't really want to do entrepreneurship. I thought it was just a lottery or something that was luck. But yeah, talking to Nikhil Vishwanathan and hearing his story and talking to a lot of founders made me realize that entrepreneurship is a real thing. But a lot of the clubs at Stanford were either very exclusive or they didn't really build anything. They would just have maybe talks or events. And there's no place where anybody can come together and just build things. So I was like, I might as well just start this, because start the club that you want to be a part of. And this actually led me into sending a lot of emails. That's how I did the marketing. I got hundreds of mailing lists from Stanford. There's a limit on how many mailing lists you can send to in Outlook. I hit that limit every single time. And I would send so many silly emails to these mailing lists and tell people, oh, we have this event happening. We're doing this. We're going to have this people. And I actually even went to source funding. I went to talk to venture capitalists. I said, hey, can we have $1,000, $5,000 and give it to people to help support their startups? And it really helped me grow, helped me learn about fundraising. It helped me work with a lot of people in the industry. Okay. And I built a lot of things as well.
Yeah, was it a platform specifically for Stanford students or?
Not really. Technically, it was the Stanford Startup Society. It was geared towards Stanford students, but actually there were people from Carnegie Mellon or other schools nearby that actually came to Stanford. Some IIT students actually studied at Carnegie Mellon in Silicon Valley. And they were some of my closest friends. They came to the Startup Society and yeah, really missed them.
Okay, it was a platform for many to grow.
Yeah. Anybody can come. I never said no to anybody because I'm the rejection guy, right? I can't give my own rejection.
Right. As a young entrepreneur based in the US, okay, being a Malayali, what do you have, what advice would you like to give the young people out there who are starting a business, especially in Kerala? Because Kerala, it has a diverse culture.
Yeah.
It has a different ecosystem. So what do you think that they should keep in mind?
My biggest thing kind of ties back to my thoughts on audience or followers. The one thing that is different in 2025 than it maybe was 20 years ago is that the world is so connected through the internet. Even if you're in Kerala, you can reach anybody in the world. I have so many friends that will just message random people. Me and my co-founder, there's a company called Vercel, which hosts our applications. It's a very, very big company, and we ran into issues. And one day I was thinking of, how do I solve this problem? And I kept looking on forums, I kept going online, and my co-founder, he's like, I'm just going to message the CEO on Twitter. And he actually responded and he solved the problem.
All right.
So the cool thing is, if you are in India, dive into your interests. Everybody's interested in something. Everybody's talented at something. Everybody has their own skill set. Go into that skill set. Create things that make people happy. Post about things. Work on if you're in technology, work on things that are open source or build projects and show them off. And people from around the world will follow you. Even though I'm in the United States, India is my second largest market in terms of people who are interested and use the Friday product. And the reach that you can have is truly global. And I recommend, just try to get an audience. If someone in Kerala has 10,000 followers, just reach out to me. I can try to give you a job. But even if I don't give you a job, if you have that many people who care about what you have to say, you can just say, oh, I want to come to the United States. I want to work on a company. Who'll hire me? I guarantee you someone will reach out.
All right. That's wonderful advice. All right. Okay. So all the best for your future plans and your success. I hope, I wish you great success in your journey. Thank you so much for spending time with us.
Thank you.